everyone, and welcome to another Nervous Chat. Obviously, it's not our usual night for a nervous chat, and I apologise to those people who tuned in on Monday and last night to catch a nervous chat, and there wasn't one. Obviously, we did go live on Saturday with the wonderful Longhorn Coasters, who gave us an absolutely amazing live tour of Universal Islands of Adventure. So if you haven't seen the last episode of Nervous Chat, please check that out, but not now. Stick with us now, because tonight's episode is going to be just as good, if not better. Before I bring in tonight's guest, just a couple of little things I just wanted to mention. On Sunday, I spent a fantastic day at Adventure Island, a sneaky pre-season park trip, if you like, with the absolutely amazing Coaster Chicken and Adam from Rand's Adventures. James, obviously, Coaster Chicken. Adam's vlog is available on his channel. That was premiered last night. James's vlog was premiered just before my show tonight. So please go and check out those vlogs. And then my vlog hopefully will premiere tomorrow night. As well as that, don't forget, on the 1st of April, over on the Walking with the Woods YouTube channel, we've got another amazing quiz, and I've got a little video to show you for that. Just bear me 1 second.
Come and join us over at Walking with the Woods on Saturday night, April the 1st, 8 p.m. UK time, as Nick and Claire look back at those club bangers, chart hits, movie soundtracks and TV themes when we play our next quiz, the music of the Double O's. That's April 1st, 8 p.m. on YouTube.
So if you're free on April the 1st, please be sure to check out the music quiz over on the Walking with the Woods YouTube channel. Great quizzes. Love Nick and Claire. Obviously, they did an episode of Nervous Chat 2 episodes ago. I think it was. Yeah, 2 episodes ago. So check that out as well. The link for that is in the description. I will also be adding the links for James's vlog and for Adam's vlog in the description. So if you want to go and watch their vlogs, please have a look at the description, but give me a chance, because I might take a little time. Just going to say a quick good evening to people who are in the live chat tonight. If you are in the live chat, or if you are watching and you haven't commented in the live chat, please shout up, because it's lovely to know who's watching. And I do like to say hello to everybody and make it as personal as I can. So good evening, first of all, to my top moderator, the best moderator on YouTube by far, James Coaster Chicken. Good evening to the Thompson Life. That's Rob and Lauren. Sam, the Coaster Tog, is also in the chat tonight. We've got Adam from Rand's Adventures. Fantastic. Good evening, Adam. Great news on the job, by the way. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. Well done, mate. Top congratulations for that. That's absolutely fantastic. Good evening, Max, Theme Parks All Over. Good evening to Mike from Journey to the Attractions. Kaz from Kaz's Crafts and More. Lindsay, the Coaster Hen. Fantastic to see you. Femke, I don't know if I necessarily know what your channel is, but lovely to see you. Thank you for joining us tonight. And of course, the Coaster Capturers. Bonjour and hola. Right. Without further ado, let's get cracking with the show, shall we? So tonight, I've got an absolutely amazing guest. Many of you might be aware of his work without even knowing that you're aware of his work. Many of us love Lego, and we've probably all spent time trying to put together models of our favorite roller coasters from bits of Lego, either with the children or with our own Lego sets. This guy makes it easy for us. He designs the Lego models, and he also and it makes it so easy for us to recreate our favorite roller coasters from all over Europe out of Lego. So without further ado, let's get Tom from BRIK the Kikker into the studio. Good evening, Tom.
Good evening.
And how are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm very well. I suppose it took a little bit of time to sort of introduce you there, because I think a lot of people are familiar with your work, but probably not familiar with you as a person. They, you know, I know for a fact that quite a few people of the roller coaster enthusiasts I know own sets that you are responsible for designing, you know, but probably and one of the reasons why I wanted to get you in tonight was so that people can put a face to the work, you know, and you can take some credit for the fantastic work that you do. You know, I mean, I myself own a set. It was bought for me by my good wife at Christmas,
Hmm.
and you know, and that started my interest. And then I discovered you had an Instagram account, and sort of, and obviously it went from there. In fact, I've got my set here. I'm just going to show everybody. I hope you don't get easily embarrassed by people showcasing your work.
No, it's okay.
This is the wonderful Smiler set that my wife bought me for Christmas.
I think
Absolutely
it,
fantastic.
it's so popular that the eyes that are on the the original set, I think they sold out all over the UK. Because that's a part that wasn't made very often. So it's nice to see that people are using the alternative instructions for that.
Yes. I must admit, I was a little confused when I was building it, and thought that maybe there was something missing. But obviously, then realised there's obviously a stocking issue.
Yeah,
And
that's one of the really big issues with these models, making sure that they that the parts are available.
yes, of course. So how did it all start? I mean, I'm assuming you were always a Lego enthusiast.
Yeah, well, I think I built Lego from like a very early age, and then I I think when I went to university, kind of stopped doing it. And once the pandemic struck, I think I picked it up again. But I think I saw a post that someone made an RMC train out of Lego. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I could try that. So the first design I did was a GCI wooden roller coaster.
Okay.
It was absolutely awful because when we tried to, my girlfriend and I, we tried to build that and it was just falling apart. So did some modifications. Then I switched the design program software. So it was actually much easier to use and make renders and stuff. Um, and after that, just continued making new models. And at a certain point, I was like, maybe I can just, sell the instructions for a bit of for just like a couple of euros. Um, and that's how it all started. So it was basically a pandemic thing, and especially going into the second lockdown during the winter of 2020 2021.
Yeah.
That's when I also uh, um, I graduated from university, so I had a couple of months off during January, February, and March. So I
Yeah.
just had unlimited time to work on it, and that's really when it blew up.
I guess that you probably you didn't have you had no idea how popular it was going to be.
Yeah, at first when I sold like one or two instructions a week, I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then I made the Untamed model and from Walibi Holland, and that really got the ball rolling in the Netherlands. And I think it was after the Taron model that was released, I think New Year's Eve, I think.
Yeah.
After that, it really kicked off, and then I also started. I think at some point I was like producing one model per day because I
Wow.
had so much time on my hands, and of course I was really motivated to keep working on it.
So have you reached a point now where you've covered most of the coasters across Europe, the major ones, or are there still more to come?
I think for now, most of the coasters in Europe that I wanted to do, I covered. So of course, there's also always a element of that I like to make coasters that I like to make out of Lego, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. But of course, there's a lot still left. But that's I usually look at it as making the coaster type, not as much the individual coasters, because of course there's a lot of GCI wooden coasters, so you can just reskin the train, and that's what I did with, for example, going from Taron to Conda. It was probably like 80% of the structure of the build is the same. So what I like to do is I like to either make the new coaster trains that come out, so like a new type,
Yeah.
or but I think I've covered most of the like very big ones in Europe now.
I have you found any sort of limitations in the ones that you can do? I think we were talking last night, weren't we? And we
Yeah.
discovered that unfortunately there is two major coasters that you haven't been able to do. Did you want to obviously tell everybody which ones they are, sadly, and
Yeah,
obviously what's caused the limitation?
so for every model, I think there's a couple of challenges um, that arise when you're designing. So first of all, it has to be a limited size, because people are not going to buy a model that's 200 or 300 euros. So I usually try to keep it around the 70-80 euro range. So
Yeah.
that's a first big limitation. So that really puts a limitation on the parts, or the amount of parts that I can use. And then a second one is that parts have to be widely available on BRIK, because the parts are made by Lego, and Lego does not make every part in every color at this point in time. So certain parts are very widely available, and certain parts, for example, the eyes of the Smiler coaster, those are not like widely available, and so they either become very expensive, or you can't even make the model. And
Yeah.
at first, like the first couple of models, I didn't really take that into consideration. But at some point, it just got so popular that I really had to make sure that at least like 100 or 150 could be ordered in Europe before um, I could, release it, because otherwise, at some point, the resellers would just run out of parts, or of a part of a specific uh, uh, model. And that
Yeah.
actually happened with the Smiler eyes, but also there's a specific Technic part that I use for making the wheelbase. And at some point, it was just not available anymore in the Netherlands, because it was just, I don't know, maybe it was because people bought it so much. But that could just be a momentary, like.
I suppose it's like everything, isn't it? That Lego produce batches, and they don't take into account people like yourself producing extra models that would require certain parts. They just produce
Yeah.
batches that would fit for their models, or their specific sets, and obviously your
Yeah, I'm just working with what Lego puts in their sets
yeah.
at this point. So it can happen that, and the coasters that we were talking about yesterday were, a lot of people have been asking me to make a Baron 1898 or an Oblivion model. However, that's it's not possible to do this because the colors are not available for certain parts that have to be used, especially for the restraints of the two coasters. And if those are not available, I usually can consolidate on some of the parts not being available and having them in like a black or a gray or something that doesn't really detract from the look. But if there's too many parts that are not available, I can just not make the I cannot make the model, and that's
Yeah.
a little bit of frustrating sometimes. But it's part of the fun, I think.
No, absolutely. As you say, we were talking about it last night, and it was unfortunate that we discovered that, you know, that Baron 1898, which is obviously the dive coaster based in the Netherlands, which is very, very popular, and also Oblivion, the very first dive coaster in the UK. You know, and it was quite it was a funny coincidence that both of those dive coasters you were unable to make because of the limitation with parts in the right colors, and it's such a
Yeah.
shame, because I actually wore my Oblivion t-shirt tonight in in solidarity, that maybe Lego, maybe somebody from Lego's board will be watching tonight. You never know. And we'll realize that the grave mistake they're making by not making parts in the colors that you need. Or as my friend James the Coaster Chicken here has just said, we all need to petition Lego and and get them to make those parts in those colors, because you know, I'd love to add an Oblivion to my set, and I'm sure you've got many Netherlands based customers who would love to have Baron 1898, as you say, added to their collection.
Yeah,
um,
definitely. So that it's really it's quite a shame that it's not available, but I will have to make do, and at some point the parts will come. But we just have to wait, because I made a model of the bobsleigh coaster that used to be in the Efteling,
yeah,
and I had to pull it offline after a couple of weeks because one of the parts was not available anymore, and it didn't occur in any recent sets. So that means that the part is unavailable and it does not come back onto the market. But I think it was like 9 or 10 months later, they released a Harry Potter set with an in the hair of one of the models. It was like this gigantic minifigure, and in the hair of one of the models contained that brick that was missing. So then I could re-release the set, and
wow,
that's the sometimes the struggle that you have to go through to
yeah.
uh, release it.
But I think it's amazing that you know, that you were aware of that brick, that one brick in that hair, and that because of that you were able to put your set back on the market.
Yeah.
Keeping track of that must be a nightmare. I mean, it must be a full-time job in itself, keeping track of stock availability.
Well, at this point, things have slowed down a little in terms of like how many, because of course the pandemic is over, people are going back to the parks, so there's things slowed down a little, and I've the Bob model in particular, the bobsleigh model. That was one of like the earlier models, and when I make a model now, I make sure that all the parts are available.
Right.
And usually I check that by just trying to order like 150 of them and then see if any problems arise.
Yes, because of course Lego have that on their website, that stock checking option, don't they? For if you need to buy spare parts, because I know I've used it before to buy replacement parts for models. So
Yeah, the models, I usually advise people to buy the parts on BRIK. I think that's owned by Lego now, but that's
right,
a platform for resellers. So it's just a bunch of people all over the world, like a lot of people all over the world, and they usually buy either used Lego from people, or they buy like Lego sets at very high discounts, and they part them out, and then they just sell the parts on there. And usually, what I do with every instructions, get a file that you can put into the website, and you can just very easily order all the parts on there. And I think that's really great, because usually the prices are a bit less than ordering it through Lego
Yeah,
itself. And
yeah, of
also
course.
the program that I use to design the models, it's called stud.io. Um, it's also made by BRIK. So when I'm building the model, I can immediately see whether a part is available in a certain color and what the price, like the average price of the part is in the last couple of months. So that's really great.
Yeah, that must be fantastic. Because I was about to say to you, obviously, for anybody that doesn't know how the whole system works, so we obviously order the design and the instructions from yourself, and as you say, they come with a code or a link, and then there's a website called BRIK, and you put that code in, and basically it sources all the bricks for you. So rather than you having to go and find all these individual bricks yourself, it sources them all for you, places the orders with all the relevant sellers, and then they just sort of filter through the post. Some
Yeah.
sellers are, as my wife found out on the run up to Christmas, because it did get a little bit close to the wire at one point. Some sellers are a
Hmm.
bit faster at getting
Yeah,
getting bricks out than
definitely.
others. And I believe there was one bag of bricks left that turned up like literally 3 or 4 days before Christmas. But it is what it is. I'm guessing that all these sellers, probably like yourself, have other jobs as well. So it's as and when they can. So but it's still a fantastic system, and it allows you that freedom then, I suppose, to to produce these absolutely amazing models. And as a few of people have commented, they are absolutely stunning models, and they're so
Thank you.
realistic.
Thanks.
And the vision, to see these things in Lego terms, is just absolutely is absolutely amazing.
Thanks.
Have you had a favorite one that you've designed? If you had to choose one of your designs and you think that's the one that came out the best in your opinion, which one do you think it would be?
I think the most satisfying one was doing uh, Taron, I think, because that was a big challenge getting the horns right.
Yes, yes, of course.
I really like that model. I also really like the modular sets for Disneyland and the efteling,
Yeah,
because I love building like very big things out of very small bricks. I think those came out like really came out rather nicely. I'd have to think, because I think those two, I think that Taron is still my favorite one, because that's just, it's also my favorite coaster, so makes sense.
and then you just answered my next question. Is your favorite model also your favorite coaster?
Yes,
Um,
definitely.
yeah, because your local park, you were telling me last night, is Willoughby, Holland, isn't it?
Yeah, Wallaby. Yeah.
Wallaby, sorry, Holland, which I think most people in the UK are familiar with efteling,
Hmm.
and it seems to be the most well known to a degree in the UK, or
Yeah,
especially
it makes
amongst
sense,
people who,
because they also make a lot of like they do a lot of advertising in the UK as well, I think.
yeah,
Also, it's just quite a very big park in Europe, so
yeah,
that's I think that's understandable. Wallaby is more like your regional. Used to be Six Flags, and now it's probably, for like in the enthusiast, it's probably most well known for Untamed, the first RMC in Western Europe, I think.
yeah.
Um,
Yes, I
and
was just about to say to you about Untamed. Is probably the standout coaster, isn't it, for Willoughby?
yeah,
It's
definitely.
the most well known, certainly, and it does look a fantastic coaster. I have to admit, it's one I hope one day to have the opportunity to brave. Because obviously, unfortunately, in the UK, we can't have RMCs because health and safety regulations don't lend themselves to the type of restraints that they have.
That's a shame. Oh, that really is a shame.
So we are a little bit limited. We'd love to have them, but because they do look like absolutely awesome coasters, and they've been proven safe all over the world. But the UK doesn't want to doesn't want to rubber stamp that, so we're left dreaming about RMCs all over the rest of the world.
They should wait until 2025, because then they will open 2 single rail coasters as well in Walibi. So then they'll have even more unique stuff to come for.
Yeah, well, a friend of mine who is in the live chat tonight, actually, which is Steve from Thrills and Food.
I just saw that he commented RMCs are the best. Yeah,
that's right. And he was actually telling me about the single. Him and Sam the Coaster Tog were telling me about the single rail coasters coming in 2025, because I think they're planning a trip over just to go and see them.
Yeah.
It's it does look like it'll be an amazing addition to
definitely. They already have a pretty good lineup, so I think those really I think they also have Goliath, which is quite a huge Intamin coaster, and Untamed, and then the 2 dueling single rail coasters. I think that will make and of course Lost Gravity, which is still quite a unique Mack Big Dipper coaster. So that's I think they have a pretty decent lineup.
There seems to be a lot of investment in new coasters, actually. I mean, the UK, we're seeing probably the biggest period of investment in coasters for a very long time. We've got a new, well, we're not entirely sure what Project Horizon at Alton Towers is likely to be, but we're sort of thinking an indoor coaster of some description. Obviously, we've got Project Exodus at Thorpe Park, which will take the record for being the UK's tallest roller coaster.
That looks really good, I have to admit.
It looks very exciting, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We've got Chessington, who are opening up Jumanji themed world with their B&M launched inverted
kiddie coaster,
boomerang coaster, which it actually has quite a few elements in it, which, despite being a kiddie coaster, I think will be a very good addition.
I think it will be a nice family coaster. It's just so crazy to see like this tiny B&M wing coaster.
Because it's quite a short layout as well, from what I've seen, but it does look good, and I know my son, who is he's only 1.2 meters, and in the UK there aren't many coasters with inversions that are below 1.4 meters.
Oh, really?
So for him, this is an absolute amazing occurrence, because it means that there will be a coaster. He loves Swarm at Thorpe Park, so obviously he likes the wing coaster concept. So to have that at Chessington, which is one of his favorite parks, with an inversion, and it's a boomerang, which he's done before, he's really excited about it. And I think for as you say, as a family addition, it's going to be great. Obviously there's dueling coasters supposed to be being added to Legoland in Windsor.
Oh, okay. Cool.
We don't know much more about that at the moment. The planning permission was submitted, but it's all gone a bit quiet now. But I believe that there is a clause in place for Legoland that they have to have something new added there every couple of years, or something like that, because of the Lego connection. So hopefully that will happen there, because they definitely need something more exciting, because of the 4 main parks, if you like, in the UK, or the 4 Merlin parks at least, it's probably the least thrilling. It's beautiful with all the Lego themed areas, but it doesn't have much for the coaster enthusiasts, shall we say.
I
So
understand. Yeah.
so obviously we said about, you know, you've always been a Lego enthusiast. Have you always been a roller coaster and theme park enthusiast as well, or did
Yeah.
that later
Like
on? Or
when I was young, we lived, I think, 45 minutes away from Efteling, so we went every year, of course, as every good Dutch person does, who lives that close by. And that really got me into theme parks. So, and then we went to, I had like the luck to go to Disneyland Paris in
wow,
2004, and
yeah,
then or five maybe. And then we did like a couple of other parks during our holidays. So we went to Legoland in Denmark, and it's always been a big part of my childhood. And then when I turned a teenager, went to Walibi Holland for the first time, of course, and that, you know, um, that really got me into theme parks more. And then, you know, you join a forum online, and you really start getting into it. And you know, especially once I left high school, I think it really kicked off. So started visiting a lot of parks, and especially now that I graduated, you know, you're not a student anymore, so you have some money to actually, you know, go places. So
yeah,
that's really nice.
yeah. No, absolutely. As I was talking to you last night about, I came to roller coasters and theme parks very, very late in my life,
Yeah,
because
which
I've
is
always been.
also, yeah, I think that's really nice. That's not something that you hear quite often.
No, no, it's most people seem, as we were talking about last night, seem to start very young, and you know, and it's just part and parcel of their childhood, and you know, and it sort of, it either continues or it fizzes out, depending on how you feel about it.
Yeah.
As I was explaining to you, I came very late to it because I was always terrified of them. You know, um,
Hmm.
I there were places in Thorpe Park, for example, that even as recent as probably 3 years ago, I couldn't stand without feeling terrified, um, just because of what I was surrounded by. You know, so it's I've been very late coming to it, and so I've got a lot of catching up to do, because so many of the other enthusiasts that I'm friends with, they know all these rides in all these parks, and I'm like, slow down, I'm catching
It's
up.
really, don't feel pressured. That's what I feel like. Just, you know, do what you like, and uh, you learn as you go along. You get to know all these rides and stuff. But like, honestly, it's I always say, just as long as you enjoy what you're doing, you don't have to be worried about you know, knowing every nut and bolt on every roller coaster.
No, well, no, absolutely. I mean, yeah,
But I
I've always
understand.
maintained.
I understand the feeling that like you're like, probably like, finally you love the roller coasters, and now you're like, oh my god, there's so many of them. And especially
Yeah,
now with a lot of the with a lot of the roller coasters opening, I feel like we're entering a sort of a new era for roller coasters, because we have a lot of new developments,
yeah,
like, for example, Ride to Happiness, or the new RMC's new Vekoma coasters, the new Intamin coasters, like, and all the coasters that can do all the weird drop tracks, switches, and that kind of stuff. I think we're really heading into a new era of the. I think it's fourth generation in my head. I always think it's the fourth generation, because we had
yeah,
like the previous one, which was the already okay-ish, with the new, you know, um, cable launch coasters and the LSM, but it was like rough. And now we're entering like a new era with the really nicely modern design coasters. And I feel like I understand your feeling that a couple of years ago, if you rolled into the enthusiast community not a couple of years ago. I think like 10 years ago, right after the recession and stuff. Investments were a lot slower, so you got some time to catch up, and now at this point it's just
Yes.
going forward.
Yeah, it's I've come to the community at the best and worst time in that respect. The best time because, as you say, we've seen this explosion of investment and all these amazing new developments in from all of the manufacturers. They're all launching new style coasters. B&M with their surf coaster, of course, over in Florida, and Intamin are launching upgraded and updated designs, more elements to their multi-dimension coasters, and and all of this all going on all the time, and it's all gone a bit crazy because when I started, there wasn't. I remember getting excited because Chesington was getting a ride called Croc Drop, and because that was about it, really. That was all there was to get excited about. And now all of a sudden, as you say, you've got your single rail dueling coasters coming to your local park, and we've got so much happening in the UK as well, and and America as well. I'm seeing I've got some very good friends who are enthusiasts over in the States, and they're showing me all the time that new developments in a number of the Six Flags and parks, and it's all just gone up. Yeah, it's like the world's gone roller coaster crazy all of a sudden, which is great, because I think there was as you say, there was quite a long period where there was no development. There was very limited investment in new coasters, and it was quite a poor period of it for the roller coaster industry. But
it's not just, of course, the new manufacturers, like the manufacturers making new coasters. It's also all the chains like Merlin or Parques Reunidos or Compagnie des Alpes, which are all investing right now. So it's really it's like we're back in the period. I feel like investment-wise during the 90s when Disneyland Paris came to Europe and all parks started investing. I think we're in that sort of period again, where it really is a golden age to be an enthusiast, and I think there's not a better time to get into it than now, to be honest.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I agree. Like a few people have commented tonight, it's I'm sort of trying to rush my way around all the UK parks now to get all of them done before they open some more, and then try and branch out into European parks to try and get some of the credits from there as well, and sort of and catch up a little bit in that respect. But yeah, it's a great time to be an enthusiast. It really is. So
Definitely.
And it's long may it continue. Because it has been a long time coming. But hopefully now we can. Maybe it would be nice to see a sustained period of this investment. So rather than a boom and bust, it's more of a every couple of years they introduce a new ride here or a new ride there, or more of a long-term strategy, as opposed to a knee-jerk, we haven't had any new coasters for ages, let's put them everywhere, and then we'll sit back for 10 years.
Let's hope that happen again.
Let's hope so. Yeah, no, absolutely. I remember last night we were talking about there was a little park you mentioned. Is it Duindrell?
Duinrell, yeah.
Duindrell, yeah. And I was having a look at that actually last night because I was quite interested. And would I be right in saying that they've got a Gerstlauer Eurofighter?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Also, I think a Gerstlauer family coaster.
Yes, yeah, I saw that, and I was quite like, oh, okay, because I was talking to some friends after I'd spoken to you last night, and I said, oh, have you heard of this park? Because I'd never heard of it, and they were like, oh yeah, but we're not totally sure about exactly what's there. It's got some nice rides, and so I thought, oh, okay, I'll do a little bit of research into this, and actually, yeah, it looked like a very good park. Actually, I
It's
kind of want to go and see it now because it's a lesser known park.
I understand. It's probably most well known for the pool in the Netherlands, at least, because it has a huge
Yeah,
pool.
yeah, I saw that, and the water park sort of thing around,
Yeah,
around that was just absolutely amazing. Actually,
it's really big.
my wife loves that kind of thing, and my kids as well. I'm not such a great fan. I'm not being the strongest of swimmers, and so I'm not a huge fan of water parks. But they certainly are. And I said this park would be perfect for us. You can go and play in the water all day, and Daddy can go and ride coasters. I mean, what more could you possibly want?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was a nice one to sort of find, and so I think that could well be on our itinerary in the not too distant future, because it did look like
Cool.
one of those I'd like to go and investigate.
It's really quite
If
nice. It's nice and laid back, especially if you go swimming
Yeah,
in the evening. You can have a nice day there, definitely.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. It certainly looked that way. Obviously, the reason that we started talking about that part last night is because of its link to your Instagram and sort of company. Company sounds like such a corporate word, doesn't it? But
Yeah,
your shop name, if you like,
yeah,
the BRIK, the Kikker. Did you want to talk about what the link is there?
yeah, definitely. So the mascot of that park, of Duinrel, is called Rick the Kicker, and that means Rick the Frog. So I decided to have a little wordplay, and decided to name my Lego shop BRIK the Kicker, so that it was like it's a nice pun on the mascot name.
We appear to have a bit of a
Oh, yeah, I
no,
think
it's
you
right.
froze.
There was a bit of an internet dropout on my side there. I'm not quite sure what that's about. We don't normally experience that on a live stream night, but I loved that story. I just thought what a great connection that is to to theme parks and Lego, and very cleverly put together. I absolutely love that story, which is why I had to get you to tell it, because I thought, yeah, people will love to hear that.
I don't think a lot of people outside of the Netherlands understand the joke of the name.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, absolutely, and which is why I thought, people would love to know. People watching would love to hear that story, because then they'd get it. They would understand why you've chosen a frog as your logo,
Yeah,
and and what the connection is there. I often look at names of accounts and shops and that kind of thing, especially if they're a bit different, and sort of go, oh, I wonder how you came up with that. So it was a question I
but
had
that's the
to
story.
ask.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that's amazing. That's a brilliant story. If anybody in the chat's got any questions for Tom, please feel free to put them to him, because obviously, we can get those questions in now. Otherwise, I'll just keep questioning, and Tom will start to feel like it's a bit of an interrogation, and I don't want him to feel like that at all. That's
No,
not how
I don't
Nervous
feel like
Cat
that at
works.
all.
That's good to hear. Have you ever visited? I think I asked you last night. You have visited the UK, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, we did. We went on. Of course, I went to London a couple of times because that's what people do, like on a city trip, go to London. But we also visited during the 2012 Olympics,
Yep.
and we went to Alton Towers. So that was before the Smiler was there.
Okay.
During when the Nemesis Subterra ride was open, and I never
Oh
went,
wow.
and I'm still so mad at myself for not going on that ride because
Um.
it was only open for a couple of years, I believe. So, and we were there,
Yeah.
we didn't go on it.
It's funny you should say about rides like that, because actually one of the things I noticed about that other little park is that it has a top spin flat ride, which we used to have and I don't think we no longer have them in the UK. The last one was
really?
at Chessington World of Adventures, and called Ramesses Revenge. And unfortunately, I was never brave enough to do it. And by the time I was brave enough to do it, Chessington had got rid of it.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I always regret not being able to do that ride, because it always looked amazing, but just I know
I
it
think
was
they're a lot of fun, especially I think the one in Downrail, that's probably the worst one to exist in Europe. But I think the one in Phantasialand or in Walibi Holland, especially I think the one in Phantasialand, it looks really good. Also
yeah.
off-ride, it has a lot of fire effects and stuff.
Wow.
And the one in Walibi, they updated the programming for it a couple of years back, so it has a really intense program. Also, like a random program that you can get. So that's also a really good one. It's broken a lot,
Okay.
so
Funnily
unfortunately.
enough, that's what used to happen to the UK one as well. It was often broken, which is why I think
Yeah,
that they
the
got
one
rid of
in
it in the end.
Phantasialand as well. They're always broken.
Yeah, they were. It was a maintenance nightmare. It spent far more time down than it did out operating, as I remember. So I think that might be a major contributing factor to its
Yeah,
demise here in the UK.
definitely.
Got a question from one of the viewers. Are you working on any new coaster models at the moment?
At the moment, no, because we just came back from holiday and we got a new cat, so I've been a little busy with that. But we went to Florida, so I have a lot of new ideas for coaster models, definitely.
Yes, yeah, I can imagine. Yes, that there would have been a lot of inspiration
Yeah,
from a
definitely.
visit to Florida. James is asking your favorite movie. We asked this. This is a weekly question to every single guest. We always ask what their favorite movie is.
Favorite movie? Ooh, that's a very difficult one. I think. Oh, I find that really hard to answer. I think probably Avatar, the 2009 one. That's
Yeah,
really one of my favorite movies. I
good
used to
choice.
really love that I still love it. Um, it's um, I would say that one. Yeah, definitely.
Does the park, is it Dendrel, have a self-powered flume? Steve's asking.
Don't exactly know what you mean by that. Self-powered flume.
Could you clarify a little bit, Steve? So that I must admit, I'm not entirely sure what that means. So I'm sure Steve will come back in a minute and clarify. James would like to know what your favorite Florida park was that you visited.
It was Hollywood Studios, definitely,
Okay.
because I loved Star Wars Land. Or Galaxy's Edge, as I should say, and also Tower of Terror and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and the whole park. I just have a bit of a weak spot for studio parks as well.
Yeah.
So I really love the whole vibe of the entrance and definitely Star Wars has a lot of like adds a lot to it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I think a second close one is probably Islands of Adventure.
see. That's got to be top of my ultimate bucket list. I think. I mean, obviously, I knew it was amazing anyway, and and it's been probably on my list for a long time. But having done the last episode that I did with on Saturday, where the guests actually came live from Islands of Adventure,
Oh, that's so
and
cool.
took us on a guided tour of the park. And it just absolutely blew me away and just made me want to go there even more. So that's now the ultimate visit for me, is to get to the Islands of Adventure and obviously the Velocicoaster.
Yeah, it's so good. I really love the park. I think my favorite ride there is probably Spider-Man, I would say. The Spider-Man ride.
Right. Yeah.
That really blew me away. That was so good. But I loved Velocicoaster as well. And especially Hagrid's. We did that one front row at night, and we felt like we were the only ones on the roller coaster. It was so good.
Oh
It was
wow.
really good.
Yeah. That is amazing. Mike from Journey to the Attractions, do you have a favorite Lego set? Doesn't have to be obviously one you've designed. It could just be, I mean,
Yeah, definitely, I do. It's the Ninjago City Gardens, I think. It's
okay.
up there on my on the cabinet. It's like a huge city, like a Asian-looking futuristic city,
Okay.
and there's so many interesting building techniques and colors and part usage in there. It's really is my favorite set that I've ever built from Lego.
You would be very popular with my son. Ninjago is his favorite Lego theme, I suppose.
Hmm.
I'm a Harry Potter Lego fan.
Cool. Yeah,
And
great choice as well.
I collect a lot. I've got about 27 sets now, I think, in total.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all getting a bit out of hand. But it's damn Lego for keep bringing out more sets. And I know there's more coming out this month. I've already looked at them and gone, I need those, I need those. And there's ones from from previous ones that I've still not got yet that I want to add to my collection. So yeah, Lego certainly made their money out of me with Harry Potter Lego. The flume.
Oh, I know
is
what it
is
means. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's kind of self-operated. It's like a boat that you go sit in. You put a bar across your lap. You close the doors, or you do that first probably. You close the doors. You put a
yeah,
bar across your lap, and then you pull on a rope, and then the ride goes backwards, and you like jump into the water.
yeah.
It's a really weird ride. It also costs like €2, I believe, to ride. Um, yeah, we did that. That's a really good ride. It's so obscure, and it feels so dangerous, but it's really cool.
Some people would say the more dangerous a ride feels, the better it is. I'm not sure I
Mm.
totally agree with that.
There's a
I
limit to
like to
that.
feel, I like to feel at least relatively safe before I put my hands into a 100-foot drop or whatever. So James was asking if you managed to get on to. Did you do Pandora while you were on your Florida trip?
Yeah, we did. It was so good. Like, especially at night, it looks so amazing, and the food offering in there is it's really out of this world. Literally, it looks very alien, and I think the two rides they are. Um, I really like the boat ride, and I think the Flight of Passage was really good. However, we did have some issues with the 3D on both times that we rode it. Um,
Okay.
so I think that's just a matter of Disney not really maintaining their rights very well. Um,
Oh,
so that was a bit of a shame because the quality of the
yeah,
movies, and you could see that the quality of the film used in the ride, by the way, spoiler alert, is really good. However, the 3D was not working that well, and that detracted a little bit from the experience. But as a
yeah.
whole, it's uh, it's so good, and I really still don't understand how they managed to pull off those floating mountains without them ever getting destroyed in a hurricane. To be honest.
Yes, yeah, of course, yeah. Um, Steve, thanks for joining tonight. I know obviously you probably are up at ridiculous o'clock in the morning to go to work, so but thank you for keeping the country safe in the very important job you do, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. Just wanted to obviously say that.
Thanks for watching.
Lindsay would like to know, what Harry Potter house are you?
I'm a Ravenclaw.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's an interesting one. Most people obviously go for one of the two very popular ones, don't they? They're either Slytherin or they're Gryffindor. So that's a nice, interesting change. So
I
there,
always thought that fit my character best. So,
fair enough. Do you have any of the Star Wars Lego sets?
I do not have them anymore, but I used to own quite a bit of Lego Star Wars, which is probably still at my parents' house. But I like the building, like the building sets, sets of buildings. I like them better to display, so I don't have the Star Wars set set up anymore here. They're all like they're all in pieces somewhere in a bag in my parents' house.
As you say, it's far easier and far more space economic, if you like, to have buildings, isn't it? Sets that are buildings.
Yeah, definitely. And
Yeah.
while I do really love Star Wars, I think the sets are very gray, and that's something that I don't really like all that much to display in the house.
Yeah,
So
no,
I really love the
absolutely.
sets, but they're just I like the colorful Ninjago one a lot more.
Yes. So obviously I've got a question now I just thought of. So is there a park in the UK that if you could visit, particularly if somebody said to you, you can go to the UK and visit one theme park, which park would that be?
It would be, I think. Can I also say a specific time of year to visit? I think it would be
Yes.
Thorpe Park during Fright Nights. I'm a big
Yay.
Halloween fan, and I would love to go there. We were actually planning on going this year. However, because we saw that Halloween started a bit earlier than the Halloween because I'm a scare actor at Toverland during
Oh
Halloween.
wow. Fantastic.
And we always have to work around dates, so to make sure that we can go to other events. And we thought Thorpe Park started a bit earlier than us this year. However, it doesn't. So that's a shame. Yeah, we would love to go someday.
That is a real shame because Thorpe Park's my local park.
Yeah.
And I know if you were coming, I would have absolutely come to meet you. And and do that with you, because Fright Nights, it is good. It is, Thorpe Park is the theme park that is most well known for being for Halloween. It is the major event there, if you like. So and it's held that crown for a number of years now. Although I did go last year and do scare mazes for the first time, and was a bit disappointed in the scare mazes last year. But I think we were there on a very busy day, and the throughput in the scare mazes was the big thing. So they were kind of rushing us through, and I don't think we were getting.
I hate it when they do that. I'm like, just sell less tickets. You make enough money.
Absolutely, I agree.
That's what in the Netherlands, Walibi Holland is a big player in the Halloween scene, and I think Toverland is creeping up on them on the second place. Walibi Holland is really capitalizing on Halloween. So they usually, what they do during the very busy days, sometimes they just sell so many tickets that the lines get so long that they just tell the scare actors to not scare in the houses. And to just get all the people through. That's just horrible. I don't like it when events do that.
I suspect that possibly had something along those lines had happened last year, that they were literally just saying, do the absolute minimum, but
And
keep
just
the
get the
people
people through.
moving.
Yeah.
Which it's sad because we've all paid the same money whether you go on a quiet day or a busy day. Everyone should get the same experience, but
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
it's one of those things, unfortunately, isn't it? And if there was a UK coaster that you could ride that you haven't previously done, what would that be?
I would have said up to this year probably the ultimate because it's just so iconic.
Yeah.
But that's not there anymore. So
No, sadly not.
I think so. I did do Nemesis when we were at Alton Tower. So
Yeah.
already done that. So that would be my top pick first. Then second, I find that quite hard. I would probably doubt between Smiler and probably something at Thorpe. No, I think it would be Smiler. Yeah.
It's probably the roller coaster that the UK is most famous for.
Yeah.
Because
or
because
infamous
obviously
for.
or infamous.
Yeah.
Sadly, yes,
Yeah.
sadly. But obviously it is a world record holder, and it's and it's quite an iconic sort of ride, I suppose. I like it. It's my number 2 at the moment.
After
But
which one? What's your number one?
Icon of Blackpool.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely love that roller coaster. It's just it's what we were saying about developments earlier. Mac rides the launch of Icon. I mean, if Stealth and Rita, which are obviously Intamin launch coasters, but that launch is so fierce that it's almost unpleasant. Some people love it. I don't. I find it it's off-putting almost for me. But Icon, it just glides through its launch. You roll out of the station and you don't even realize that you've been launched until you're halfway up that top hat, and you're like, oh, okay. And it's it is and I love that
That's classic Mac.
And
That's classic Mac coaster. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, when they added Enzo, the spinning chairs, to the back,
you do that one?
I did that last year, and wow, it just turns it into a whole different ride. It's a whole different experience.
Cool.
I think we did Icon 5 times in one day, 4 times just as Icon and once as Enzo, and it was absolutely fantastic. It really was absolutely fantastic.
That's so cool. You probably really like the Ride to Happiness at Bobsleigh.
Yes. That is probably, if I could choose one coaster across Europe right now to go and do, that is the one I really, really want to go and do.
I understand. It's so good.
And I feel bad about it because in some ways, because it's the one that everybody wants to do. And I'm kind of like, I like to be different, but I can't disagree that it just looks an amazing coaster, and I hear such great things about it. From the audio to the theming, it's the complete deal as far as a great coaster is concerned. And I love anything that spins. Give me something that spins, and I'm very happy. So yeah, to combine all of that together in one coaster is just absolutely amazing.
It's very good. Yeah, definitely.
Sam, the Coaster Tog, is asking, can we get a Ride to Happiness Lego model anytime soon?
There already is one, actually.
I thought I'd seen one in your collection.
There's one.
Actually, yes.
There's one available.
So there we go, Sam. The instructions are available. Get over to Tom's Etsy shop.
I also saw a question about the scare actor. What is it? What's it like being a scare actor? Got any funny
yes.
stories?
Sorry. Yes, I meant to come back to that one for you. Yes. What's it like being a scare actor? And have you got any funny stories?
It's great being a scare actor. So I started during the pandemic, and that was a horrible time to start. But it's great fun. It's I like up to now I've only acted in the scare zones in Toverland, and the reason I really like working for Toverland is because they are not a horror event. Um, they're more based on a dark fantasy sort of style rather than blood and gore. So that
Yeah.
I really love that. And I am a scare actor, or I have been a scare actor up to now in the scare zones. Um, and that's just great. It's a lot of fun. Um, Scaring people, but and then you can really use all your energy uh, when you're out, and it's just you you're working with a team to make something so amazing, and um, that's really that's just a very good feeling.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely, and it's nice to hear that there are people who are working in those sort of positions that feel that way, because sometimes you sort of feel like they're just people who are employed, and they can be a bit lackluster, shall we say? And
Yeah,
sort of they
I
feel like they've
think a lot of people who work at scare events or Halloween events, um, they are really passionate, and
yeah,
if they come across as lackluster, maybe that's everyone can have a bad evening, but usually that's because either something is not well managed in a
yes,
haunted house. Um, so what I we go to Movie Park Germany quite a lot during Halloween,
yeah,
and Movie Park Germany, at the start of the night the houses are really good, and at the end of the night the houses are less good, and that's purely because the actors are screaming all night, and at the start of the evening you can do that, but after an hour or two or three you just start to lose your voice and energy.
yes,
So
of
it really
course,
depends a lot on the design. So in Toverland, um, there are hardly any roles in which people make like a sound with their voice. It's a
okay,
lot of scare tools and scare buttons,
yeah,
um, and you see that in Walibi Holland as well. Um, so they really make sure that people can give it their all every evening.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and I feel like I've had more like lackluster actors in Germany than here in the Netherlands, to be honest. But
yeah,
I can say that everyone who's working there at pretty much all of the events wants to be there. They're
yeah.
not doing it to get paid because otherwise you wouldn't be doing it.
I've I've got actually the my next guest on the show is a young lad who is a scare actor from Thorpe Park.
Oh, cool.
So and that's Monday night actually.
Oh, I'll
And
check it out. That's nice.
yeah, he's been he was part of the entertainment team at Thorpe Park as well. So he works. I think he works for the park all year round.
Hmm.
And then he sort of moved into the Fright Nights scare acting side of things. So I'm quite excited to talk to him about behind the scenes and about how it's managed and what he had to go through to become a scare actor, etc. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think that would be a great one to hear. And yeah,
nice.
if you are available and are there, it'd be quite nice to maybe sort of compare notes if you like. So yeah,
Hmm.
obviously you can always throw your questions in the live chat, and I can put them to Kirby. The lad's name is
That's really
so
cool. Yeah, I saw I think a video by Jack Silkingston
yeah,
about
yeah,
they had a lot of backstage videos for Thorpe Park Fright Nights. I
yeah,
really love the energy of the team. It looks really good.
yes.
It's amazing.
Jack is usually involved in the design as well of a lot of the Fright Nights
Cool.
theming and sort of scares. So yeah, he's very well known over here in the UK as well. And he works for Thorpe Park.
All right. Yeah.
So yeah, he does he gets a lot of exclusive behind the scenes footage for that reason, which
Yeah,
we're all
I
quite envious
understand.
of in that respect. But yeah, it's it is what it is.
Yeah.
If anybody else got any other questions for Tom, now's your chance, because obviously we are we're over the hour mark, and I'm sure obviously it's which means it's sort of 10 past 9 here in the UK, but bless for Tom, it's 10 past 10, so it is getting late, and I totally appreciate that. It's I don't want him to use up all his
No, it's
evening
okay. It's okay.
talking to us, but it's we are obviously incredibly grateful that that you have joined us tonight, and as I said, I wanted to talk to you. What I try and do when I look for guests to talk for people I want to get to know, using this platform, is I look for people who aren't just enthusiasts, because there's millions of those. I look for enthusiasts with something else.
Yeah.
So obviously to talk to you, obviously I didn't know about the scare acting. That's just another string to your bow. But the Lego for me was a lovely addition. So it's and I really wanted to talk to you and get to know you and sort of and praise you, for those models,
Thanks so
because they are
much.
absolutely awesome. And
Thank you.
I think Sam, who was asking about the Ride to Happiness, is probably on your Etsy shop right now, ordering the instructions for that, because he definitely would put in the live chat there that he was going to be getting that. So and Sam,
Nice.
if you can't find it, the link for Tom's Etsy shop is actually in the description for tonight's video. So it's down here, not in my lap, obviously. It's down in the description. Oh, here we go. We've got one more question for you. What is your favorite scare maze or horror attraction?
Favorite scare maze? That's gotta be Below in Walibi Holland. It's a more of an exclusive scare maze, so it's a little bit more
Okay.
expensive than the usual. Like the normal scare mazes are priced like €6-7 in Walibi. This one is, I think, €15 in pre-sale. So it's a bit more expensive. You go in groups of like 5, and you actually go into, like, you have to put on pants, like they go up to here, I think. It's
Oh,
like
okay.
when you can walk into the water, like these kind of pants with
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
them,
waders, I think we call them.
but just up to here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you go into the sewers, and then of course a lot of stuff happens. I won't spoil it too much. And yeah, Femke says in the chat, that's my girlfriend.
Okay.
Is a really good one. It's in Liseberg.
Yeah.
And that's probably the prettiest haunted house that I've ever seen. And
Okay.
if you're ever there, make sure to do it a couple of times, because it's always better if you do it a couple of times.
Yeah.
And you can do it; it's free, so it's
Oh,
included in.
wow. That's brilliant.
So make sure to do that one. It's so good.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Hang Time Horror, Johnny and Kellen. They've been on my show as well, actually. Lovely couple. Obviously they are very much about Halloween and Halloween theming and dark rides and scare mazes, etc. So yeah, to get that kind of recommendation, they'll probably be googling now how they can make a trip over to to get to do that one, and then probably also looking at Liseberg to get to go and do that hotel
Yeah,
there
I
as
think
well. So
below in like generally Fright Nights in Walibi Holland are really good. Especially the more expensive mazes are they are very good. Also
yeah,
the ones in Toverland, I would really recommend doing Witch's Forest. And they have like last year they had an actual maze, like a maze there with a lot of rats in them. So you would actually, I think our friend was out in about like 6-7 minutes, and we were in there for like 15 or 16 minutes because
Wow.
we couldn't get out of the maze.
Oh, wow.
So that's a really good one as well.
Yeah, well, it sounds like there are a lot of incredible mazes actually over there in the Netherlands. So there you go, Johnny and Kellen. That's where you need to spend your Halloween this year is over in the Netherlands, and go and try out some new ones over there, and tell us how you get on. Feedback. Come back in for another. Come and do another episode of the chat and tell us how you got on. That would be absolutely fantastic. Has anybody else got any more questions? I think we're probably at about the end. I think we've covered just about everything. So I'm going to close the questions down now, then, guys. And it just remains for me, obviously, to say as a massive thank you to you, Tom, for coming on tonight. It's
You're
been
welcome.
absolutely fantastic to talk to you.
Yeah, it's been lovely.
It's been great. It's been good to get to know you, and as I say, it's been nice for people to see a face. So now that you know the BRIK the Kikker account has a face, and great. And obviously you've got Sam, who has, I think, already ordered the Ride to Happiness model. So that's probably already going
Thank you very
through
much.
As we speak. I know I've got my eye on a couple of other ones as well. I've sent the list to my wife for Christmas and birthdays.
Nice.
So she'll which I'm sure she'll be most upset about, because my Harry Potter Lego collection already takes up a massive amount of space. So the fact that I now want to collect yet more Lego is probably not going to be popular. But hey, what can I say? So thank you so much for coming in. And as I say, it's been an absolute pleasure. If anybody wants to obviously go and follow Tom's Instagram account, the BRIK the Kikker account, the link is in the description, as is the link, as I said, for his Etsy shop. Please go and check it out. The models there's so many of them, and they are fantastic. I can honestly testify
Thank you so
that they are
much.
great, and the instructions are very easy to follow. I might add, actually, I found them easier than Lego instructions. So that's brilliant, and please go and support him.
Thanks for having me on the show. It was really nice.
It's been
I
my
loved it.
pleasure. No, it's been my pleasure, and I hope to get over to the Netherlands and hopefully meet up at some point. That would be absolutely awesome. Or if it turns out that you come over to the UK before I get to the Netherlands, please drop me a message. And because it would be absolutely amazing to meet you and spend an hour or a day or whatever doing some rides and comparing
Cool.
comparing notes on those. So that would be absolutely fantastic. But for now, I'll say good night, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. So take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon.
Goodbye.
Bye for now. There we go, guys. Tom from BRIK the Kikker. What absolutely amazing guy. Just such a lovely guy, and so talented, so talented. I can't tell you, to the vision that he has. So yeah, if you're not already following him on Instagram, please go and give him a follow, and have a look at the amazing models that he does from all over Europe. Also, if you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please consider subscribing if you aren't already. All that remains for me to say is thank you everybody for watching. We will be back to our usual Monday night slot on Monday. And as I was explaining to Tom there, we have got one of the Fright Nights actors. He was part of the birthday bash setup, coming in for a nervous chat. I'm looking forward to talking to him about what it's like to be a Fright Nights actor, and all those kind of try and get some backstage goss and all that kind of thing, and see if he's returning as an actor this year, and If not, why not? And if so, is he hoping to be in a different role? So join us on Monday night for the next Nervous Chat. Until then, thank you so much for watching, everybody. And I will see you all Monday night at 8 o'clock. Oh, and if you happen to be at Alton Towers on Saturday, I'm going to be there. Please come and say hello. It's always lovely to meet people, meet new people that I've, that watch the show or have been on the show or whatever. So by all means, please come and find me and say hello. It would be lovely to speak to new people. So until then, until Saturday or until Monday, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon.